Come with us to Vaux le Vicomte, a magnificent French chateau, for a spectacular day. We attended the Grand Siècle rendezvous and after prestige. Come along to find out all about it. So a group of friends and I just went to France to attend Fête Galante, which is one of my all-time dream costume events that I got to attend, which was absolutely amazing, and I'll do a whole nother video about that. We also attended Marie Antoinette a Trianon, which was the first event that Versailles ever put on for costumers, and in the Trianon. We also went to Vaux le Vicomte. This event is called the Grand Siècle rendezvous, which was also amazing. A lot of costumers kind of do the circuit, because Vaux le Vicomte happens on Saturday, and then the Trianon happened on Sunday, and then Fête Galante happened on Monday. So we just partied like French aristocrats for a whole long weekend, and it was absolutely amazing. So for Vaux le Vicomte, I decided to wear a dress that I already had, my red robe à la française, and I decided to powder my hair because one would not go to court without a wig or powdered hair. I got the powder from Little Bits Historical on Etsy. I'll link that below.
I'm still driving. I'm not going to wave.
I got their pomade and their hair powder. You definitely need something to make it stick. Same to your face. If you just powder your face, it doesn't stick as well if you have foundation and then powder it. I learned that when trying to powder my husband's face. We were staying in Versailles, and then we ended up just getting a rental car and taking it to Vaux le Vicomte, so we didn't have to worry about Ubers, and we could just go whenever we wanted. And this event went pretty late into the night, so I'm not sure what the Uber or rideshare situation would have been, because this also is not in that populated of an area. It's not like a huge town like Paris or something. I'm just happy that we had a car that we could use, so would recommend that. It also gave us a place to stash stuff, and as you can see, I didn't really get dressed until we got to the parking lot, and then that's when I put on my dress and we got our coats and our hats on. The parking was great. It was just right off to the side, and then we walked towards the palace. Immediately upon going onto the grounds, I just felt transported. Everything already just seemed so grand and beautiful. I was just so excited to get to experience this day and to explore all that this event had to offer. This event was themed more around the Three Musketeers time period, but most people were wearing 18th century. Like us, we were wearing, and I think our outfits really spread between 1750s and 1770s, and that seemed like a lot of other people were wearing about that same time period too, maybe even going into the 1780s and 90s a little bit. We went and explored the gardens first. They were incredible. When I see a garden maze, I just want to run through it. And seeing this palace and just being in this ambiance was absolutely incredible. There were a lot of different events going on throughout the day. We were given a program in English when we arrived, which was very nice and helpful. For my American friends, the best that I can kind of describe this is kind of like a Baroque Ren Fair. There were a lot of different programs going on throughout the day. This one was a bird show. So there was some birds flying around, and I assume a lot of narration about the birds in French, which we did not really understand. So we kind of left the bird show a little early after watching a few of them fly around. You'll also see here in the background, there are a lot of people who are not in costume. Just like a Ren Fair, there are some people who show up just wearing modern outfits. And that's kind of what this event was during the day. There were some people in costume and some people not in costume, but the after prestige event was for people only in costumes. So a lot of the costume people stayed the whole day until it was just the costume people in the palace. And then the rest of anybody else who was in costume, who didn't go to the after prestige, or just modern people, were still in the gardens and on the grounds. One of the other things that was just for costumers was this picnic. We saw it when we came in. We saw a lot of the really great costume people headed back into the forest in this garden section over here. It was very nice and very shaded, and it looked like they had this whole spread. But first, we weren't even sure how they got up there. And second, we weren't sure if it was open to people outside of their group. But then we were able to get information from a friend of a friend about this picnic, which is hosted by some French costumers, and they said, yes, this is who's organizing it. Go say hi, like y'all are costumers too. And we did, and they were so nice and so friendly, and we found some people who spoke English, or our French was okay enough to say hi to a few people, a lot of people who I knew from Instagram and finally got to meet in real life, and then some new friends that we made just at the picnic. One of the most amazing things about this trip was just getting to meet so many like-minded people who had very similar interests and passions. It was so wonderful to get to have these shared experiences with people who have these shared passions. We then went back to the Chateau's South Terrace. This is where everyone in costume was gathering for the grand costume parade, which was about to take place. Everyone goes up onto the South Terrace, and the steps that go up into the chateau, and then the steps that lead up to the terrace. And essentially we all take one giant group photo. And then everybody goes down the stairs, down into the gardens. They go around the center fountain and then back to the chateau. And then everybody who's not in costume, who really wants to see like everybody's costume and get to ooh and ah and take pictures as we're walking the parade, kind of lines the parade route. So that was really fun. It was also really fun just to get to meet more people who we wouldn't have gotten to meet otherwise in line for the parade. We were in the back of the line for the parade, which means that we just got to hang out on the South Terrace and see everybody cascade down the steps. It was just this beautiful rainbow of costumes going down the stairs, which was, I don't even know how, like, just to describe everything that I witnessed. It was just such dreams coming true at every turn. Of course, my husband and I, we love to dance. So as the South Terrace was emptying, as more people were headed out onto the parade route, he was like, do you want to just dance with me over in this corner? And I was like, absolutely. So here's just us doing a little dance. After the parade, we walked around just a little bit more in the gardens. We went back through the chateau. They have like this little under section that we checked out around the South Terrace. We went back around to the front. This is that little under section, which was so fun. There were like a bunch of birds flying over me. The moat was right next to me, and I felt like I was going through this little secret hidden passageway that takes you from the back of the chateau to the front. If I may say so, I do think our group was incredibly well outfitted and some of the best dressed people there, if I can say so. There were a lot of really awesome costumes there as well. Not going to say we were the best, but I think we were up there. We decided to have dinner at the restaurant that is at the chateau. It is an incredible restaurant. It was over in the kind of front corner, almost right where we came in, and it has a very nice view of the gardens and the chateau. We sat there and had a 3-course meal. So this was our first course. Our main course was chicken, and then this was our dessert. It like burned away and was this like kind of fun chocolate mousse thing. I really enjoyed that. The dinner was very good. It did take a while though. Dining in France is almost always a 2-hour experience. So I wanted to get to go play with, they had these little wooden boats in a fountain that we tried to go play with, but they were done by the time dinner was over. And then we also tried to get onto a carriage ride, but then that was also full and about to end. So then we went and we saw the dance performance, which I greatly enjoy, as I am a great enjoyer of historic dances. These were some that I had not seen before because it's a time period that I do not normally dance in. Most of these dances, I believe, were from the 1600s. If there was any narration, I did not comprehend it. But I also don't think there was much narration about the dances themselves. It was more of a recital performance. So of course we enjoyed the dance performance, and then we wandered a little bit more into the gardens as the sun began to set. There was this large statue and a water feature that we saw that we tried to go investigate a little bit more, and then we realized that we would have to walk all the way around the water feature, and it went far more sideways than we thought. Apparently you can rent a golf cart and then drive around the grounds, not during this event though. I think there's way too many people for that, but on weekdays where there are not as many people, apparently that's something you can do. There is something about being in these very romantic settings that I also do find very romantic, and my husband does as well, because we love doing this kind of thing together. We actually met at a historical dance. This is the view of the chateau in one of the reflecting pools. We then began to make our way back towards the chateau because the sun was beginning to set, and it was almost time for us to go into the chateau for our after prestige party. But on the way there, we ran into some fire dancers, so that was super cool, so we stopped to watch. And then it was time to make our entrance into the chateau. I got little butterflies in my stomach as we were approaching the entrance to the chateau. Here you can see there are some candles lighting the way up to the chateau, which were beautiful for ambiance, but also very necessary as there were lots of little flying bugs that were kind of like mosquitoes, but not quite mosquitoes. I'm not sure exactly what they were when they were there. So they were aesthetic and functional. And then there was this gentleman, he had been the announcer for the fashion show earlier in the day, and he also was welcoming people into the chateau. We thought he was going to announce us, like ask our names and announcing, but he did not. We then entered into this grand hall. This was the center of the chateau, and there were some video projections up on the dome of people dancing, which was so cool. We then went around and explored the different rooms. So in this room, there was a puzzle of the painting that was on the ceiling. That was wild. And they were almost done with it. Great for people who love puzzles. I'm not really one of those people. So we went on to the next room, which was the game room. They gave us these little coupons of fake money, essentially, that we could then use to play the games. There was this marble gambling game where you rolled the marbles and then see where they ended up. There was this coin flipping game where you flipped a coin and you try to get it to land in the tiny cup in the center, and whoever got 3 coins in the center of the cup won. This room was very popular. There was an activity in every room, which was so cool, except for the ones that were far more like, we are going to look at the pretty room here. So this is one of the bedrooms that we were looking at. Just walking through the chateau felt truly amazing. Like, I don't know how this is my life sometimes. In the library, they let you sit down on some of the furniture. It was obviously more modern furniture, but it went with the vibe of the room. And there were some books that you could read. They were all like modern books though, but like you could still have the idea of sitting and reading in the library surrounded by these awesome historical books. Was so cool. In the front hall, there was dancing, and of course we love dancing, so we did a lot of that. There were several different dances that we learned and that we did. None of them were ones that I recognized, but they were all moves that I recognized because it's all 18th century dancing, English country dancing, very similar moves. And because my husband and I were very familiar with the moves, we were able to pick up the dances really fast. And then also I was actually impressed with my ability to understand calls in French, because it's left, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, jump and things like that. So I was pretty happy with how we were able to learn these new dances so quickly. This is one of the last dances that we did of the evening. We just wanted to get a little clip of it because we were having such a magical moment that we just wanted it to last forever. Just looking at my husband and getting to dance in this chateau was amazing. There was then the fireworks. They gave all of us a sparkler that we then went out onto the South Terrace and got to wave around. I gasped as I walked outside because most people were already outside with their sparklers, and I felt like I time traveled for a moment. And then there was the fireworks show. The fireworks show was narrated in French with the story of the chateau. One of our lovely new French friends, Sophie, translated it a little bit for us and gave us the recap, and it was spectacular. I highly recommend going to Vaux le Vicomte if you ever get the chance. It is usually the Saturday of the last weekend in May. They have their website. Tickets come out usually around like February or March-ish. I think that's when we bought our tickets. I'll link the website down below so that you can also keep an eye out. And then I'm going to butcher the name of this again, but it's the Grand Siècle event. It'll be linked below. Thank you so much for watching and coming along on this journey. Be sure to subscribe because you don't want to miss more of our 18th century France trip. I will be posting more about our costumes and our events.